Recording progress.
Okay, hello guys, hello and welcome back. And then let's go to topic 3. So this is like, we'll talk about completing the square. It is also a very important topic for paper 3. And many times, the question comes from this part where you have to actually rearrange the equation into a square form, basically. And they can also talk about, the turning point, and, they can ask you what is the coordinate of the turning points and all those things. So basically, first of all, we have to understand that this question requires certain things that you should know. So like first, you should know the formula for, how it looks like and what it should be actually. So if you see the first formula, that is very, very useful. So wherever you get a equation, a quadratic equation or expression here, basically, it's not an equation because it's not equal to 0. So when we talk about a quadratic expression, so for the quadratic expression, what you actually need to know is to understand that what all terms are there. So there should be actually it should be having a x square term and a x term. That is for sure that it will have, and then it will have some constant term as well. But constant term is the one that we need to actually manipulate and change. That's the thing. And sometimes it is also, the coefficient of the x can be also different. So we have to actually adjust it according to the scenario. So these two formula, point number 1 and point number 2, is very important. And this is the square form that we actually get from the terms x plus b whole square and x minus b whole square. Now, sometimes b is not directly known. So in that case, we can find out b by, dividing the coefficient of x term, whatever x term you have in the equation, you can divide the coefficient of that by 2 to get the value of b. Once you get b, then you are very easily, you can convert that to this format. So x is x plus b or x minus b. And whatever adjustment has to be made, you have to add or subtract that value to the constant, basically, to adjust the b square term in this one. And then you can find the turning point and at x equal to plus b or minus b. So we'll talk about turning points later. Let's quickly sort this out question first. So 4x square minus 6x plus 2. So if I see 4x square is already there, that means the x square term is already there. So 4x square, we can, if we want to write that in square form, we can write 2a whole square, or 2x, sorry, this x. 2x brackets whole square. Then you have 6x. So 6x is actually minus 2 times 3 times x. Why I have written is like a 2bx. I wrote that in that format, 2bx. So b is what? This is your b. 3 is your b. So basically, I need to have a plus 9 here. So I just put a plus 9. Now, this is something that will complete the square. This is the complete square part. This is completing square part. But see, if you add 9, but in the question, it's not 9, it's only plus 2. So what we did, we have actually added something to this expression. What we have added? We have added 7. So what I'll do is, if we have added 7, we need to subtract that 7 as well. So this is my expression that I can make from here. So what you add, you have to subtract the same thing as well. You can't, and adding and subtracting a value to an expression doesn't change things, and in equation, if you add the same thing on both sides, or if you subtract the values on both sides, the equation doesn't change. So it's simple that we can add 7 and you can subtract at 7. That doesn't make any difference. So from this, I get to the expression of square, which is like 2x plus, minus 3 whole square plus 7. Now, this is your square form. This is what they're asking. This is your square form. This is the completing square. Completing square. This is a simple 1 or 2 step question. But if they tell you further to solve for x, then you need to go further and actually find out what is x. But in that case, then this will not be an expression, it will become an equation, because how we can find the value of x? Only when it is equal to something. So it says when the expression is 0, you have to find the value of x. So in the next step, we put that this equation as a 0. So this is 0 further. So if it is 0, I can write that as 2x minus 3 whole square plus 7 equals to 0. Now this is a quadratic equation that I'm getting. So we can directly use this and solve it, okay? But here we have that equation, this equation, so it will be easy for us to directly get to that. So what we can do is the first step is 2x, and then minus 3 whole square is equal to, sorry, it's not plus 7, it's minus 7. Oh my God, sorry. It's minus 7, right? So that is equal to 7. And then now you can take the square root on both sides. So if you take the square root, it becomes 2x minus 3 is equal to, when you take square root, you always remember there are two values that is possible, plus minus root 7 is what you get in the next step. And then you can bring the 3 on the other side, so it becomes plus 3 and divide by 2. So you will directly get that is 3 plus minus root 7 over 2. Now this is also known as third form. Okay. So sometimes in these completing square questions, you will see that they will say, answer, find the value of x in terms of third, or give the answer in third form. So third form is nothing, you will have a square root sign in that. That's all. That's the third. Third is actually representing the square root thing. So this is how you will solve the question. So if it says completing square, you stop here. And if it says further solve it, you can go further and you can get up to this third point. Now, the thing is, what about a turning point and, the minimum and maximum of that? So if you see any quadratic equation, the quadratic equation, I'm just writing it here. Let me change the color here so that you can understand. So any quadratic equation is actually ax square plus bx plus c, or expression also we can say, that's not a problem. So let's take an expression, it's general. So if it is a quadratic expression, ax square plus bx plus c, there you have the x square coefficient, which is a. Now this is very important. If a is positive, then you know the graph of this is like this. It's known as open upwards. Okay, that's one case. And if I say another case, when a is negative, in that case the graph is open downwards. So you have to see. So whenever you get a quadratic expression, their graph can be either open upwards or open downwards. That totally depends on the sign of a, the value of a. Okay, the value of a. Now the thing is, if you have a positive, then this point is your turning point. This is your turning point, and this will be minimum. If you have a positive, then the turning point is at the lowest point, so it is minimum. And at this point, the turning point is here. If a is less than 0, and it is maximum. So I hope it is clear that maximum will exist in case where the graph is open downwards, that means a is negative, and minimum will exist when the graph is open upwards. So the turning point can be maximum or minimum. So they can ask you what is the maximum point of the graph, is the turning point maximum or minimum. All those things can be understood from this a value in the main expression. Now, what will be the turning point? If you talk about that, what will be the turning point? So for that, for the turning point, you have to actually equate the square part to 0 to get the value of x. So if I draw a line like for this, for example, if I draw for this equation, let's say this is the point, and let's say this is the x-axis. So there are two roots here, x1, x2, and if I take the middle point of that is where the x value will lie, right? So this will be actually the average of x1, x2. So x1 plus x2 by 2. It's the midpoint, right? So how do you find a midpoint of anything? You just do the average, right? You do find the mean. So that is one way you can do. Otherwise, the square thing what you got here, you just equate that to 0. So if you equate that to 0, what will be the x value that you'll get? You'll get 3 by 2. And if you see here, you get x1, x2, two values. And if you add them, you can see what you get. If you add them, what you'll get. So x is equal to minus 7 over root 2 plus 7 over 2 gets cancelled. So 3 by 2 plus 3 by 2, right? Which is 6 by 2, which is 3 when you add them. And again, you divide by 2, so you will get 3 by 2. So this is x1, x2. So you can do x1 plus x2 here and then again divide by 2. You get the same answer. So it doesn't matter what you do. So if you see the bracket form, you equate to 0. So now my point is that the turning point will exist. Turning point will exist when this is 0. The bracket form. Square is 0. At that point, you will get your x coordinate of the turning point, which is actually, this is for turning point, which is either plus b or minus b, depends, you know, what kind of square bracket you are getting. So you get the x coordinate of the turning point. And if you put that value in the expression, say y is equal to this, if you put the turning point x coordinate in this equation, you put the x value as plus b or minus b, you can also get the y coordinate of the turning point. So if they want that turning point, you can just put the value here. Or there is another thing. Y coordinate will be just this part, minus 7 part. This will tell you the y coordinate. This will tell you the y coordinate, because at x is equal to 3 by 2, this part is 0. The first part is 0. First part is 0. So I am just saying what is, let me clear this. We can list. So what I'm saying is, if you have a situation like, you know, y is equal to, I just take a random example of ax plus b square plus c. Let's say I have this. Then for the turning point I'm talking about, okay, for the turning point, the bracket part should be 0. Bracket part is equal to 0. So you can do that. So ax plus b equals to 0. So equals to 0. And then what you'll get for x? X is minus b by a. Minus b by a. This is the x coordinate. And for the y coordinate, y will be equal to just c, because bracket is 0. Because the bracket part is 0. Bracket is 0. 0 means at x is equal to this value, the bracket is b is equal to 0. So at this point, again, if a is, you know, what, positive and negative, then you can decide whether it is maximum or minimum. Okay. So this is the turning point case. So a lot of questions has been asked, you know, to complete the square, then, you know, give the answers in third form, or they are also asking about the coordinates of the turning point. So for turning point, you first complete the square and just make the brackets equal to 0 for x coordinate and remove that part, and whatever is left, that will be the y coordinate. So it's very, very easy then. Okay. So hope I was able to, you know, convey some of the message about completing the square, and hope that is a good revision for you. So, okay, we'll come back with next topic. So till then, you keep revising all the three topics that I have said. And if you have any questions, please do mail me or message me. Okay, or comment. You can also comment. Okay, so I'll see you next. Okay, and Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.